Today I'm going to show you how to make a sourdough ciabatta. It's a study in high hydration. Hi, I'm Sune and I'm a food geek. Today I'm going to show you how to make a sourdough ciabatta. Ciabatta has a very long and illustrious history. An old world bread, so to say. It was invented in 1982. Yeah. It was an Italian baker's take on a version of the French baguette. In true Italian culinary tradition, it's rustic and simple. Contrary to the French baguette, the ciabatta isn't shaped. The dough is sort of poured out and then handled a little bit. A lot of flour has to be used for this handling because the dough is super sticky. That makes for a pretty flat, well-floured loaf. That's perfect for a big sandwich with whatever you love to eat on bread. If you're new to this channel, I bake a lot of sourdough bread and I make delicious food from all over the world. If you want to see more of this content, please join me by subscribing and ringing the bell so you won't miss any future videos. The flour choice in this recipe is super important. You will need a very strong flour, in the range of around 14% protein, or else the dough will just be totally unmanageable. 100% of the flour in this ciabatta recipe is bread flour. A whole grain version can absolutely be made, but probably not using this recipe. Feel free to experiment though, let me know your findings. The hydration is 90%, which is super high. That puts this bread in the advanced range. So if you're new to sourdough baking, you should probably start with an easier bread. You could try out my master recipe, linked in the card above. The salt content is 2.2% and the inoculation is 20%. The dough also contains 6.3% olive oil, which helps with extensibility and shelf life of the bread. If you don't want oil in your bread, this can be omitted. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider becoming a member at Patreon. You can also buy some merch or use the links in the description for tools and ingredients. Those were the words. This is the recipe.
The written recipe, the ingredients, and the amounts are linked in the description. To a bowl, add 368 grams of very strong bread flour. I'm using Caputo Manitoba Oro. Eight grams of salt. Mix it up. Then add 74 grams of starter, fed and grown to its peak. 327 grams of water. Combine everything until all the flour has been hydrated. Then add 23 grams of extra virgin olive oil on top of the dough. Leave the dough to rest for an hour. Then, when the hour's up, mix the dough to incorporate the oil. As you can see, we already have a very strong dough. Pour the dough out onto the kitchen counter and perform a number of slap and folds. Enough until you feel like the dough is coming together even more. Cover the dough and let it rest for 30 minutes. When the 30 minutes are up, perform a coil fold. Let the dough rest for 30 minutes. After the 30 minutes, perform another coil fold. Then move the dough to a bulking container and let it grow by about 25%. It took about 3 hours for my dough to grow in my proofer set to 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Then grab the dough and put it in the fridge for a retard for at least 8 hours up to 48 hours. When you're ready to bake, heat your oven to 250 degrees Celsius, 480 degrees Fahrenheit with a baking steel and a small pan inside used to create steam. I heat it for an hour. When the oven is ready, boil a kettle of water. Then flour your counter liberally. Turn your bulking container upside down and let the dough come out. Flour the top, again liberally. Divide the dough into 2 equally sized pieces. Tuck the sides in with your bench scraper to shape it into a rounded rectangle. Then move the doughs to a parchment-lined peel. If your peel isn't big enough, you'll have to do it over 2 times. You may want to dust it with some more flour if some got absorbed while you were shaping. Then move the doughs to the oven. And pour the kettle of water into the small pan. Close the oven and bake for 20 minutes. Then remove the steaming pan and lower the heat to 200 degrees Celsius, 390 degrees Fahrenheit. Bake for another 10 minutes. When they're done, take them out of the oven. Take them off the parchment paper and let them cool on a wire rack. Want to see the crumb? Wow, that's some nice holes. Now I'm going to show you 4 different ways you can use your newly baked sourdough ciabatta. The first is a breakfast ciabatta. Before assembling, fry up some brunch sausages and some bacon. Also heat the broiler in your oven. Then add the sausages sliced in half to the ciabatta. Top with some good cheese. Then put it under the broiler until the cheese is melted. It took about 5 minutes in my oven. While the ciabatta is broiling, prepare a fried egg. Salt the egg. and top it with ludicrous amounts of bacon. And then on top, add some arugula or rocket for a bit of a green element. Yum. Here's one inspired by a Danish grill classic, Frikadelle sandwich. It's great if you have some leftover meatballs. I heated my meatball and some pickled red cabbage in the microwave. Then I start with a layer of meatball slices, then some remoulade sauce. You can make your own. It's made with mayo and some finely chopped capers, carrots, cornichons, chives, and onion. A bit of lemon, Dijon, salt and pepper, and some turmeric for color. Then a layer of pickled red cabbage. It's not hard to make. Slice a head of red cabbage finely, cut the slices into bite-sized pieces. Fry it in butter until it collapses. Then add 5 deciliters, about 2 cups of vinegar. 1 deciliter, about half a cup of red currant juice. 25 grams or 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. Let it simmer for an hour and it's ready. Season to taste with vinegar, sugar, and salt. Add to an airtight container and store it in the fridge. Then a layer of pickled cucumbers. They're super easy to make. 1 deciliter, half a cup of vinegar, 1 deciliter, half a cup of granulated sugar, and a pinch of salt. Stir until combined. Then add thinly sliced cucumbers and let it sit in the fridge for 24 hours and they're ready. Put the top back on and your Frikadelle ciabatta is done. The next one is an Italian-inspired ciabatta. Drizzle olive oil on the 2 halves of bread. Then some balsamic vinegar as well. Then add a layer of great Italian salami. I used a gorgeous fennel salami. Then some Parma ham. Yes, I used 2 slices. And then some wonderful chopped olives. And some diced red and yellow peppers. Top that with some fresh mozzarella. Season with salt and pepper. Then add some fresh basil leaves. And some arugula or rocket on top. That is a showstopper. The last one for today is a chicken and avocado ciabatta. Start with a good layer of mayo on both pieces. Then add some fried chicken fillets cut into small pieces. Then about half of an avocado. Season with salt and pepper. Add some diced red and yellow peppers. And some bacon. Bacon. Then top with some arugula or rocket and your sandwich is ready to eat.
Bellissima! Isn't that just gorgeous? This bread is perfect for dipping in gorgeous olive oil. It's wonderful for a great sandwich of your choice, or perfect as a side dish for stew or soup. But you already know all this. It's a ciabatta. Let me know in the comments what your perfect ciabatta sandwich contains. I hope you learned something today. See you next time.